Hi, I'm Sam, a 28-year-old working at a tech company that manufactures electrical appliances. My life seemed perfect when I met my wife, Lisa, at work. After a relentless pursuit, she became mine. Lisa is a very graceful woman, adept not only in cooking but also in the art of tea ceremony and playing the violin. Her family is quite traditional, believing that once married, a woman should stay home and take care of the family. Without hesitation, Lisa quit her job after marrying me to support me. Just having Lisa's smiling face around brightens up our home, and I was sure I was living a dream. However, I had no idea that my happy days were about to crumble loudly one fateful day. It was a summer evening, and I was exhausted from dealing with clients all day. As I was absent-mindedly walking in front of the station, I saw a woman who looked exactly like Lisa walking through the town. Overjoyed by this unexpected coincidence, I was just about to call out to her when I noticed a man standing right next to Lisa. The two of them were laughing and chatting amiably. I couldn't hide my shock. It just couldn't be Lisa. She is introverted and has never mentioned having male friends. The thought of her cheating seemed impossible, but I was severely shaken by the reality in front of my eyes. Impulsively, I took a photo of them. The day had been hectic, and I was supposed to return to the office to put in some overtime. However, at that moment, work was the last thing on my mind. Deciding to take the remaining work home, I headed straight there, waiting for Lisa to return. When she eventually walked in, looking exhausted, she seemed startled upon seeing me. Trying to cover it up, she smiled and started talking about how I was home early. Her attitude felt hollow to me, so I decided to casually bring up the day's main topic. Trying not to seem prying, I asked as casually as I could about her day. She mentioned having lunch with a friend and then stopping by the supermarket before coming home. She probably did go to the supermarket. She was holding a shopping bag, and it didn't seem like she was fabricating an alibi. We ate dinner in an awkward silence. After we had finished cleaning up after the meal, I sat down at the table, showed Lisa the photo I took earlier, and decided to ask her about it. I explained that I saw her by chance on my way back from a sales visit and asked if the man in the photo was the friend she was talking about. Lisa, who had been smiling until then, froze. Seeing her reaction, I couldn't help but feel suspicious. Her demeanor changed, and she suddenly came out with an unexpected explanation, claiming the man was her brother. I was dumbfounded by her poor attempt at lying. Lisa had never mentioned having a brother, and I had never heard about him from her parents, nor was he at our wedding. Overwhelmed by anger at Lisa's blatant lie, I finally burst out, expressing my feelings of betrayal. Through her tears, she packed her clothes and valuables into a duffel bag and eventually left the house. The situation escalated so quickly that I couldn't keep up. Our marriage was supposed to be happy, but in the blink of an eye, I was all alone. The fact that Lisa left without making any excuses meant she was essentially admitting to her guilt. I never imagined Lisa could be cheating on me. I wished I had never seen her with that man. It only dug my own grave. Feeling desperate and not knowing where she was, I tried calling her parents' house, but they seemed to know nothing about the situation. Not wanting to worry them further, I hastily ended the call. A week passed without any contact from Lisa. I knew I needed to talk to her, but I was afraid to face reality, so I threw myself into my work instead. There was no way I could talk to my coworkers about this. They noticed that I didn't have my usual homemade lunch and kindly asked if Lisa was feeling all right. Their concern felt like an unwanted intrusion, and I was becoming increasingly reckless. 2 weeks after Lisa had left, I returned home after another long day of working late. To my surprise, I found an unfamiliar man standing in front of my house. At first, I was startled, but as I took a closer look, thinking he might be an acquaintance, I was shocked for the second time. It was the man who had been with Lisa. Despite my obvious annoyance, the man seemed to notice and nervously started talking to me. He apologized for bothering me so late at night and said he needed to talk to me about Lisa. As I had suspected from the start, he was indeed the man I saw with her. Fighting back the urge to hit him, I openly showed my weariness. The man was desperately trying to get through to me, begging me to listen to him. Watching him plead, my anger started to subside. I didn't want to listen to anything this guy had to say, but maybe it was time for me to face reality. Despite my discomfort, I decided to let him speak. It was late, and I was mindful of the neighbors, so I let the man into my house. He was humble but seemed determined to tell me something important. Lifting his head, he began to talk all at once. He introduced himself as Alex, explaining that he was Lisa's real brother. In that moment, I was furious, thinking he was lying too. But as I calmed down and thought about it, I realized Alex was indeed Lisa's maiden name. Was this man really her brother? Noticing my surprise, Alex started to speak hesitantly. He confessed that he had been disowned by their family due to his gambling and alcohol addiction, and he hadn't even been invited to Lisa's wedding. As Alex continued his story, I began to understand the situation. Despite being forbidden to contact any family members, Lisa had secretly been in touch with Alex. Thanks to her support, Alex had finally been able to cut ties with gambling and alcohol. Just when he thought things were improving, it was discovered that he had developed cirrhosis from drinking too much. The hospital recommended immediate hospitalization, but Alex, who hadn't been working properly, couldn't afford the hospital bills. Regrettably, he had to give up on treatment and was bedridden in his rundown apartment. Even then, Lisa was worried and visited him, using her savings from before our marriage to pay for Alex's hospitalization. Thanks to that, Alex was finally starting to recover, but Lisa had done even more for him. In fact, Lisa had secretly started a part-time job on weekdays without telling me. She was supporting Alex's hospital life with that money. With tears in his eyes, Alex appealed to me, expressing his deep regret for causing so much trouble. He admitted that he was to blame for the situation and acknowledged how much Lisa had done for him. Alex's confession made me realize that Lisa had been protecting her brother out of kindness and compassion. She had kept these secrets from me to avoid ruining the relationship between us and her family. The more I thought about how Lisa must have felt, the more I couldn't hold back my tears. Alex was also sobbing uncontrollably, grateful for Lisa's unwavering support. He confessed that he thought he shouldn't show himself in front of me, but he couldn't let Lisa's marriage fall apart because of him. He hoped that by explaining the truth, I would understand and forgive Lisa. Feeling a warmth in my heart, I realized that Alex had decided to trust me with the truth. I silently vowed to clear up the misunderstanding and bring Lisa back home. I reflected on Lisa's kind-heartedness and her dedication to her family. A few days later, Lisa and Alex returned to our home. Lisa sincerely apologized for lying, and from the bottom of my heart, I apologized for not trusting her. Alex deeply regretted causing such trouble and decided to reconcile with his parents. Finally, smiles returned to our faces. A few months later, Alex properly apologized to his parents for everything, and the disownment was lifted. As for Lisa and me, we vowed never to lie or hide anything from each other again and started living together once more. We are no longer strangers. We are family. I promised to protect Lisa no matter what, and we moved forward with a renewed commitment to each other.